You've told yourself it too many times. I've gone too far. I've failed too much. God can't use someone like me. You replay every mistake like a highlight reel of why you're not worthy. Every fall, every sin, every moment you knew better, and still did it anyway. The guilt sits heavy. The shame gets louder. And little by little you start to believe the lie. God is done with me. You go to church, but feel out of place. You hear people talk about grace, but feel like an exception. Because if they knew what you've done, they wouldn't look at you the same. And maybe God wouldn't either. So you shrink. You hide. You stop praying with honesty. You stop believing that restoration is even possible. You think God only uses the clean, the strong, the holy, and you don't see any of that in yourself. Just a mess, just regret, just someone too broken to matter anymore. But here's the truth. God never needed you to be perfect. He needed you to be honest. His story has always been written with broken people. People who doubted, who ran, who failed, who sinned deeply. David committed adultery and murder. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. Paul was a violent persecutor. And yet, God still chose them, not after they cleaned themselves up, but right in the middle of their mess. You think your brokenness disqualifies you, but what if it's actually the reason He called you? What if the very crack you're trying to hide is where His light wants to shine through? The enemy's greatest trick is to make you believe your damage is greater than God's mercy, that your past is louder than your purpose. But grace doesn't avoid brokenness. It moves straight into it. It doesn't wait for healing to show up. It starts healing by showing up. You are not too broken. You are exactly the kind of person Jesus came for. You don't have to hide your scars from God. He's not shocked by your story. He knows every detail, even the ones you can't say out loud, and He still says, "You're mine." He's not interested in your perfect version. He wants the real you, the broken you, the one who barely made it out of bed this morning, the one still struggling, still slipping, still trying to believe they're not too far gone. God doesn't use people in spite of their past. He often uses them because of it, because pain makes you compassionate, because failure makes you humble, because weakness makes you dependent. And those are exactly the qualities He uses to show the world who He is. You think being broken disqualifies you from purpose. But purpose isn't born in perfection. It's born in surrender. It's when you stop pretending and start trusting. When you say, "God, this is all I have," and He says, "That's all I need." You've let shame become your identity, but God never called you by your shame. He calls you by your name, and your name isn't failure. It isn't disqualified. It's redeemed, chosen, loved. That's what grace does. It doesn't just cover sin, it redefines the sinner. There's power in a life that's been shattered and surrendered. There's strength in someone who knows they need saving and actually lets God save them. The truth is, you're not the only one who's broken, but you might be one of the few who's honest about it. And that kind of honesty is what heaven builds on. You don't need to climb your way back to God. Jesus already came all the way down to you. You don't have to prove you're worthy. He already proved you're worth dying for. The cross wasn't just for the world. It was for you, for your story, for your wounds, for your comeback. You keep waiting to feel clean enough to come back, but grace isn't something you earn. It's something you collapse into. You don't have to work your way back to God. You just have to turn around. And the moment you do, He's already running toward you. You might think you're too broken to be used, but that's exactly what makes your story powerful. Not the highlight reel, the wounds, the pages you wanted to tear out, the dark parts where God met you and didn't walk away. Those moments, that's where ministry is born. That's where the world sees Jesus, not through your strength, but through your scars. You don't need to be whole to be held. You don't need to be ready to be redeemed. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to come undone in the right hands. And His hands, they've held nails. They can hold you too. The parts of your story you're most ashamed of might be the very parts God wants to use, not to humiliate you, but to heal others, not to replay your failure, but to reveal His faithfulness. Because what the enemy used to break you, God can use to build someone else. You are not beyond grace. You are not beyond purpose. God doesn't see you as a problem to fix. He sees you as a son, a daughter, a story He's still writing. You don't need to be whole to be chosen. You just need to be willing. And if all you have is brokenness, that's enough. Because God builds beautiful things with broken pieces. Someone out there feels like their story is over. Don't let them stay in silence. Share what helped you breathe again. What moment in your life made you feel too far gone? And how did God meet you there?